Beth Neville here with Art and Life, and today we're going to take on a very different kind of a topic. Something that is probably you'll never have any interest in doing, but that is how to draw a dragon. It's when I used to teach teenagers, it was one of their favorite topics, how to draw the dragon. The dragon is a symbol in Asian culture, particularly among the ruling class, for imperial power. So the emperor, the Chinese emperor's robes would have dragons on them. The paths over which he was carried would be carved with dragons. You can see that if you go to Beijing, to the imperial palace, on the slope over which the emperor was carried. He didn't walk, he was carried. There are these marvelous dragon symbols that are carved into the stone. Now, my husband and I should say my husband has taught philosophy and theology and is very much involved in Chinese and Asian philosophy. So because of that, many people come to visit us, scholars, and they often bring us presents from China or Korea or Japan, always very interesting and marvelous things. So one of the things that we acquired this way was this dragon. Bob's going to focus on it for a minute here. You can see from my hands that it's a small carved dragon. It's very characteristic of a dragon. And it has scales here, a very ferocious head with huge bulging eyes. The eyes are here, and over the eyes are big bristly eyebrows. He has fangs, they're truncated here, sharp claw teeth that come up, ears, very interesting. There is the ear. Where is the ear? It's in here somewhere. It's an ear. And then the head usually ends in sort of a horns. He has horns, ears, sort of a flame-like set of whatever, flames, part of the dragon, a very strange set of whatever it is that comes out of the dragon's head. The dragon will have 4 legs, and each claw will have typically 3 forward talons and 1 backward talon, rather like a bird. There's a crest that goes down the back of the dragon, a kind of a pointy crest. And also, dragon, you're eating my pencil. Don't do that. The tail will often end in a very dramatic way. Many dragons also hold a pearl. This is a pearl, not a globe. And it's a flaming pearl, and that is a symbol for spiritual energy, wisdom, prosperity, power, immortality. So the dragon, that symbol of power, grabs the spiritual energy and the symbol for immortality. So you can see what a potent symbol it is. All right, we're going to put this to one side, and then we're going to look at, thank you for adjusting the camera, my husband as usual, Bob Neville is helping me with these, such a great help as we stay home alone. I'm going to show you some photographs of other dragons that we own. This one was given to him as a gift by professors at the State University of New York, and it's made out of sort of like a concrete material. Again, a very dramatic dragon. This one's fairly large. It's probably almost 2 feet. It's about this 2 feet in width and about that high. It's really quite a very dramatic dragon. Another dragon that Bob and I purchased, we have 2 of these, and they're out in our garden. And I think they're wonderful dragons, a great deal of wonderful rhythm, and the head, the mouth of the dragon has a wonderful curving presence. So it curves around here and gets bigger and bigger, and then it ends up in quite a few similar curves. There's one here, that mimics the claw up here, and it brings you right up to the part of the jaw of the dragon. Also, his eyes are quite prominent. There's the eyes, the nostril, and so on. And they're made out of cement and are a common garden ornament. So another dragon image, I did these many years ago, drawn from East Asian calendar art. And they show you the tremendous diversity of images for dragons. We're going to talk a lot about how to draw it, but please notice in this one that the scales are defined by white leftover spaces, not by dark linear spaces, but by the leftover spaces, which is quite an interesting change from what you would expect. In this one, the scales have been reduced to circles or kind of ovoid, egg-like shapes. And I think this one gives a very dramatic presence with the dark shapes. As I've gotten older, I have to admit, I have less and less interest in trying to do this very, very detailed work that I was doing at that time. I want to be a lot freer in what I do. I did 12 of these, so I'm just showing you 3. The dragon scales that I'm going to show you how to draw today are done this way. And this is a very interesting pattern, and it's very relevant for many things in our natural life. Seed patterns, roof tiles, brick tiles, their waves in the ocean also mimic that pattern. And I'm going to show you one last thing, and then we'll get going on how to draw a dragon. Many years ago, I was teaching ceramics, and of course I always loved to do the artwork that went with teaching. So I made this fish out of clay, ceramic clay, and it's actually a dish. You take the top off and you can serve fish in it. It's not oven proof, but I've had a lot of fun using it at dinner parties. But the reason I'm showing it to you is that the pattern of the scales on the fish is very similar to the pattern of the scales on the dragon. So this is another example. Fish scales often have this repetitive pattern. So let's take a moment here to get out my pad of paper and hopefully my marker. And how are we doing on the, it's visible?
Yes.
Okay. All right, how to go about drawing dragon scales. If you can make a U shape, all right, I'm going to make an M shape, and then you repeat that M, as if you were having many M's linked together, all right? Or if you turn it upside down, you could think of it as being a U shape. It really doesn't matter which way you go. Now we're going to go this way because I have more room down here. The way you do it is you locate the point, the end point for each of these lines, and you do another section of M's, making sure that the height, the high part of the M hits that point there. So up we go, hit the point, come halfway down. Up, hit the point, halfway down, halfway, hit the point, go, go, go. All right, let's do it faster. All right. Or you can do it this way. Now let me see if I can reverse. Yeah, okay, here we go. You can start here, find your high point, right, and connect the high points. This is actually a little bit easier than doing it the other way. But no matter how you do it, the idea is that you create a rhythmic pattern. And it's so fascinating. If you look at it from the side, you'll see 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You see that pattern continuing there? Goes this way. Or if you look at it this way, it goes this way. All right? So so it's a crisscross. And so, in some respects, this is sort of like analyzing the crystal glass jar that I was working with last week that was so complicated. Now, if we look at one of the dragons that we own, that's this one, and this came out in black and white. Here is the dragon in color. This artist really did a very simple dragon scale, not this one. All this artist did was to go make lines in his clay. I'm pretty sure it was modeled in clay, like this. Lines, 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 lines. He didn't make M&Ms. Then he went in the other direction, like this, all right? So what we see here, and then the way he made it look almost probably a he, the reason he was able to make it look like scales was because he curved the lines around his form. But if you're going to analyze that one, what he did, he basically did this, minus the M's. So what he did was do this, draw lines this way, draw lines that way, all right? Now, I find that a much more mechanical, less authentic scale pattern. Yeah, it looks like scales, but I don't think it can match what it looks like if he had done this. But this is a mass-produced item and very, he wasn't going to spend a lot of time on it. I think this is a much more scale-like thing than these little diamonds. But nevertheless, it works. It works pretty well. So we're going to continue on by making a large scale drawing of a dragon, and we're going to apply some of the principles I've just talked about into into an image that hopefully will help you. So we're going to continue on here. We're going to have to splice the film together for technical reasons. So we'll pick up where we left off yesterday. You can tell because I'm wearing a different outfit. Okay, thank you, Robert. Now we're going to interpret these protuberances on the back end of the dragon. Have you got any idea, Robert, what they would be called?
No, I don't.
What are those things? I'm sure they have a name. Everything has a name in drawing. Okay, all got names. All right, now we're going to look down at the drawing again. So here's the back of the dragon, and they just basically go like this, something like that. Now again, infinite number of variety of things you could do with it. You could put ellipses in the middle. You could make a second layer of them. You could do that. You could do little internal ones. So there are all sorts of possibilities. What I like about this one is that it does it in an even different way. Down here, there's this sort of different kind of scale pattern. Let's draw that on this side. And that pattern is sort of like overlapping dollars or 50-cent pieces that overlap. So you draw a C shape and you fill it in. So to create that one, you draw a C shape, a lot of C shapes, right? And then what the artist did for this one is he or she filled in with this pattern, all right? And this pattern ends each time at where it's cut off. It's bigger here, smaller here, smaller here, bigger here, smaller and smaller. And I think that's just a beautiful pattern. I love that pattern. So there's another embellishment. Again, you could make up on your dragon, supposing you said, all right, I'm going to create those C shapes. I'm trying to think, maybe I'm going to put a flame in the middle, all right? I'm going to add a flame this time. That would make another wonderful pattern. So there are about as many patterns that can go on here. Maybe you'd say, I want this to be double. That'd be fun. Make that double. Wow. That's fun. Oh, that's a gorgeous pattern. I like that even better than that one. And what was done here, when I did this drawing, I filled in, you see these little spaces out here? I filled those in like that, all right? So that the C shapes were more distinct. I don't know whether that's showing up in the film or not. Now here's another way to draw dragon scales, quite interesting in here. This is done with like curving triangles. So let's talk about that one. In fact, I think you could do it here. Now, in order to draw curving triangles, what I would do would be to take a pencil, which we're going to cut for just a second. So, in order to accomplish this pattern here, this one, what I would do for that one is I would draw some lines first. Let's see if I can recreate this. Just some guidelines. All right, and then I would do the crisscross this way, lightly in pencil. You probably can't even see it. Is it visible?
Yes.
It is, okay, great. Then within that pattern, I would do a straight line here, a straight line there, and then a curve. Well, not a straight, but I'd fill in and then a big curve. Back, down, curve. Back, down, curve. Down, curve. All right? Curve up here. Curve up here. And what I did then, with a fine marker, a fine pen, I filled all this in like this. I have to say that as I get older, this type of drawing has less and less interest for me. I mean, as you can see, thousands of strokes to fill in each one of those little patterns. But what's fun about it, is it really clear, Robert? What's fun about it is that the scales are defined by the white spaces. So you fill in the triangles, so it's like the negative spaces become the lines. In some of these, it's the line that forms the pattern, but in others, it's the space between. So let me darken this. Let me see if I can make this a little bit more clear with the concept. Let's darken this in, all right? All the way through here. Let's see if we can do enough of this so it's become clear. This is a negative. You're drawing negative, all right? So you're filling in the blank, and then what happens is, I hope I've done enough of them. The spaces between are what create the pattern, all right? It's the space between that creates the pattern, not the object itself. Well, they both do. But what creates the linear pattern is the white negative space, all right? Now, let's go on to the head. The head is so confusing. Oh my goodness, dragon heads. Dragon heads have teeth. They have fangs. They have smoke coming out of their nostrils. They have googly eyes. They are so complicated. So, we're going to use this one as our prototype here. In fact, let's go back and look at this one. Okay, is it showing up pretty well, or does it show up better against white?
Shows against white.
Okay, clear the decks. Okay, here we go. All right? Let's see if we can analyze it. It's hard for me to even see it here. In here, he has teeth. These are his eyes back here, buried in there. There's an eye and there's an eye. They're googly eyes. And they frequently have big eyebrows, big fur coming over their eyes. So this is the fur coming over their eyes. This is the nose here. They have horns. So here's horn 1, horn 2. And here's an ear. You see back here? There's an ear. And here's a lot of, almost like some of those dogs, or dogs that have a lot of hair that come down over their mouths. That's sort of what's going on there. And he doesn't have much in the way of fangs because it would have been too hard for the artist to draw. So let's take another look at our drawing here and see if we can figure this out. Googly eyes. There's an eye, there's an eye. This is the nostrils, right here. This is a big tooth coming out here, tooth coming out here, tooth in the middle. Back here, sort of curly, fuzzy hair. This is like either foam or cloud shapes coming back there, or fire, whatever you want to interpret it. And great big huge fangs kind of coming out of here. A lot of very strange hair coming up from the back. So those are the essential. All the rest is this is just, you know, artistic filler to make it look more fearsome. So let's go back to our drawing here and see if we can. I'm going to try to draw this upside down. How's it showing? Pretty good?
Good.
I'm going to start with the googly eyes. Google eyes here. All right? If you draw dark shapes off to one side, you're going to get Google eyes. Then we're going to make the eyes even bigger and even a little bit more peculiar. All right, there's our Google eyes connected. Now above the Google eyes are these fearsome eyebrows. So there's our fierce eyebrows. Coming down, I'm going to say this is the nostril. There's a nostril, there's a nostril. I'm going to try to come in here, something like that, and connect the nostril back with the googly eyes. Now, the mouth part here, here's the teeth, here on this side, teeth on the other side, right? Kind of coming out this way. So here's our basic head here. All kinds of strange things coming out here, whether it's fire or it's whatever. All right, up at the top, they're like curly hair squiggles. They're like little corkscrews. We'll put in the corkscrews. All right? And out of all of that, over here, comes sort of like cloud-like, repetitive shapes that seem to represent more of the head. And they kind of come out this way. All right? More of these swiggles. And then, out of the top of that, come the sort of flame-like shapes. They kind of come. And, you know, as I say, there's no cheating in art. Whatever you want to do with a dragon, however, you know, you want to embellish it, is perfectly all right. And then maybe some more of these cloud-like shapes down here. And then our dragon here connects down here. Let's give them a few more of these things. Down something like that. So we're probably going to have to make this more fulsome. Maybe this, maybe, oh dear, I didn't mean to draw over the top of that. All right, so that's basic 101 dragon head. The claws tend to come down. I'm going to have to draw this right side up. I can't pull this one off upside down. Here's the wrist of the claw. All right, and out on one side, we're going to have 3 claw shapes. Think bananas. And out of the back, we're going to have 1. And then in the middle, we have a shape sort of like that would represent the palm. Now to really make it look like a claw, you need to add these shapes. All right, once you do that, then it really begins to look like a claw. The scales, if we're doing our scales coming down here, the scales at this point would be very small, but they would probably extend out down into the claw itself. So going back to our big drawing, here we go. Let's add a claw here. This claw, here's the kind of like the arm of the claw, and here is one big claw. Here's another one. Here's one going to the back. Here's one over here. And here are the nails. Real pointy, sharp, and exaggerated. So that's one. Let's draw, if this one could be seen as being in front, let's draw one as if it were coming from behind the dragon. All right? So here's our back claw. Here are our front claws. All right? Now, here's another one over here. We're going to have this one emerging as if it were on the forward side of the dragon. So big shape here. There are 3 claws and then our little 4 claw. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the last one, I think we're going to pretend it comes from behind the dragon. So that one is going to be like that. Now, on the drawing that I was looking at for this, there was a very important part of the dragon mythology, and that is the pearl. The pearl represents flaming power. It's called the flaming pearl, and it represents spiritual energy, wisdom, prosperity, immortality. So here's, in this one, the pearl is a circle. All right, there's the pearl. And many times, the pearl will be grasped in the claw of the dragon. So here's the claw of the dragon. And there it is, holding on to the sacred pearl, the symbol of power. And the pearl you can do anything with a pearl. You can decorate it any way you like. So in this one, here's the pearl, and this pearl seems to be in flames. There are 1, 2, 3, there's the claws, 1, 2, 3, and there's the 4th claw. But out of the claws and out of the dragon seem to come more flames to hold the sacred pearl in its claws. So I think that is the essence of the dragon. We didn't put in, oh, I know what we didn't put in. We didn't put in our dragon, let's see, which way would they go? They would go, oh, this way. We didn't put in our peaked parts back here. They would be coming around and so on. Here would be the end. The dragon kind of comes here. The dragon comes around here to the tail. All right, there's the dragon. And on this prototype, there are lots of these wonderful flame-like embellishments here, kind of coming around. It says you will see, you see them not on that one, it's on, yeah, on this one. These sort of, as if the dragon were in some kind of a sacred cloud here. That's a very interesting part of this dragon. So as you see, they can be done all kinds of ways. Anything that you want to add to your dragon in the ways of pattern is certainly acceptable. So that's pretty much basically, I think, where we're going with the dragon. We did the flaming tail, we've done the cloud, the fog that the dragon often is embellished with. We've done the claws, the 4 claws, 1, 2, 3, 4. Each claw has 3 talons in one direction, 1 talon in the back. It has googly eyes, an exaggerated nostril, flames coming out of it, big teeth, a very, very fearsome dragon. So I hope that will help you have fun, amazing your friends and relatives with your ability to draw a dragon, or at least understand them. So now in the coming weeks, I want to do some sumi-e drawing. That's black and Japanese brush painting. We want to do some acrylic painting and some oil painting. So we're going to drop the black and white drawing, and we're going to get back into color and painting techniques. So I'd love to hear from you. Contact Cable TV, Milton Access TV, and let them know what you'd like to hear next, have me draw next. And looking forward to seeing you next week. Thank you very much for watching.